Hi all, and with Legion being a few days old now, I thought I'd discuss the various priorities that raiders have getting ready for that 4th week when normal and heroics open, as well as mythic plus dungeons, and the various options we have. Naturally, some of you may already be familiar with the content of this video, but perhaps not others. Now, some people might only need to get one character raid ready, some two, and perhaps some very top end players need a basketball team's worth. However many it is, each character needs to progress the following 3 things in the main: gear, artifact power, and the order hall campaign. So, taking gear first of all, because it's the most straightforward and familiar to us, given that we've always needed to gear up at the start of an expansion, and the most familiar of gear sources are dungeons, of course. In Legion, you can hit the normal dungeons for gear upgrade until you reach 8-10 item level, at which point you can queue for heroics. Of course, there's no item level requirement for any dungeon if you make your own way there with a pre-made group. Remember that you don't need to have 8-10 item level equipped. If you have good items in your bag, they still count. One common trick is to purchase high level items from a vendor with the intention of selling it back when you get out of the dungeon. You can keep repeating this until you have 8-10 item level naturally. Of course, the main way to do this would be the Dalaran ring for 250,000, which is 850 item level. There are also mythic dungeons, but these require pre-made groups, and so the item level requirements depend entirely on the perception of your group, though obviously higher is better. When I was looking at requirements on Group Finder today, they were mostly asking for 825, though based on past experience, this is likely to increase over time. Generally speaking, pug leaders don't ask for the item level they think is required, they ask for the highest item level they think they can get in a reasonable waiting time, because of course they want the run to be as smooth as possible. Dungeons are not the only source, of course. As soon as you unlock world quests, then some of these offer gear. The item level of the gear on offer will increase in line with your own item level, though in steps, not gradually, until it reaches heroic dungeon quality gear. This can also include relics, though so far I've only had ones for the 3rd relic of an off-spec. In addition, if you have world quests unlocked, then you also have the reputation to buy some decent starting boots from the Nightfallen vendor. Always do the Emissary World quests, as the cash you receive has a chance of granting you a legendary. Don't forget to use your whistle after completing a world objective if the next one you want is some distance away. Finally, some BOE items may be sold on the auction house and can Titan force to very high item level. I didn't gather as much gold as some through WoD, but the only reason I save any at all is specifically for the start of expansions. I've already bought a few pieces and will keep checking once or twice a day for further pieces over the first 3 weeks. Also, don't forget, even when you've sort of got yourself around about 825 item level as I have at the moment, it's still worth doing heroics, because remember, the pieces can Titan forge. Professions is the final source of gear, but to get high item level pieces will not be cheap, so early in the expansion especially, as it requires a certain amount of time being spent by the crafter to develop their skills and knowledge with the new quest system. When it comes to artifact power, there are a few sources. What's most important, however, is that you always have work orders for artifact knowledge on the go as soon as you hit level 110. You won't start to get the benefit for another 5 days, but don't delay starting them. You can often find a number of world quests which give artifact power, as well as the treasure chests that are bound to still be around the world after you finish leveling. You also get bucket loads of artifact power items from doing the class campaign and main Suramar quests, and you probably want to get on with these quite quickly as they lead onto the Withered training scenario, which also gives you access to even more artifact power, as well as maybe other shiny things. You access this every few days once you've completed some basic quests in Suramar through a world quest. Finally, dungeon spamming will yield a lot of medium level artifact power items, as well as the token from queuing up in LFD. You also get a weekly artifact power reward from completing a mythic dungeon. Then there's the class campaign. Not only does this give a lot of artifact power in the early days, but also access to some of the Quartermaster armor items, which might prove to be a decent upgrade. Remember that even an 8-10 item level piece only needs 2,500 order resources to raise it to 830 item level, and there's the potential for 840 with Nightfallen honoured and even more order resources. Make sure you don't run short of resources for your order hall upgrades, missions and artifact knowledge work orders, of course. But one of the chief reasons not to ignore your class campaign is because finishing it is the only way to unlock that 3rd artifact relic and provide you with a fantastic boost to your item level on your weapon. All classes have different campaigns, but all of them will have some necessity for acquiring items from missions. These may well take several days to complete regardless of what you do, so it's often best not to sit on quests that you can do yourself in the short term. Some people already have their third relic, and at the time of uploading this, I should be on the last set of missions for mine, so should get it before the second reset if my memory serves from doing it on the beta. So those are the priorities and the content to engage in to advance them all. How much you have to think them through really depends on time to play. Some are able to dedicate most waking hours to playing the early part of an expansion. Some have to fit it around work and domestic life. I'm a bit of a halfway house and I need to fit it around work and keeping the house in reasonable shape, but otherwise I have a good 6 hours a day to play the game at least. On the first Saturday I'm on 826 item level on my main, halfway through levelling my alt, which should be done tomorrow. Then I get the pleasure of doing everything twice a day. Yay. Anyway, I hope that was useful as always. If so, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share for further content, and until next time, I'll see you later.